45-year-old Marcus had spent 20 years in prison for armed robbery. He had been 25 when sentenced, angry and convinced society owed him something. Now, on the day of his release, he walked out of the prison gates with $200, a bag of clothes, and no idea how to navigate the world that had changed so much during his absence. His parole officer, Mrs. Rodriguez, met him outside. "Marcus, you've served your time. Now comes the hard part, rebuilding your life. Do you have a place to stay?" Marcus nodded. "My sister said I could stay with her temporarily, but she made it clear I need to find work in my own place quickly." "Employment will be your biggest challenge," Mrs. Rodriguez warned. "Most employers won't hire someone with a felony conviction, but there are programs that help. Don't give up." Marcus's sister, Denise, picked him up and drove him to her small apartment. The ride was awkward. They had been close as children, but 20 years had created distance. Denise had built a life. She was married with 2 teenage children, worked as a nurse, and owned her home. Marcus felt like a stranger imposing on her family. "You can stay in the basement," Denise said as they arrived. "But Marcus, I need you to understand something. I have kids. If there's any hint of trouble, you'll have to leave. I love you, but my family comes first." "I understand," Marcus replied, hurt but knowing she was right to be cautious. The first weeks were brutally difficult. Marcus applied for dozens of jobs, warehouse positions, retail, food service, anything. Every application asked about criminal history. Every time he checked yes, he never heard back. The rejections piled up, eroding his confidence. He attended mandated classes through his parole program: anger management, life skills, job readiness. The instructors were well-meaning, but Marcus found the advice simplistic. "Just stay positive," they would say, as if positivity alone could overcome decades of incarceration and a criminal record. One evening, frustrated after another day of rejections, Marcus walked through his old neighborhood. He saw guys he used to know, still involved in the same illegal activities. One of them, Andre, approached him. "Marcus, man, I heard you got out. You need work. I got something that pays well." Marcus knew what Andre meant. Easy money, illegal activities, the same path that had led to prison. Part of him was tempted. He was broke, desperate, and tired of rejection. But another part remembered the years behind bars, the hopelessness, the waste. "I can't," Marcus said firmly. "I'm trying to do things right this time." Andre laughed. "Right, man, nobody's gonna hire you. You think they care that you served your time. You'll always be an ex-con to them. Might as well make money." Those words haunted Marcus. Was Andre right? Would society ever give him a real chance? The next day, Mrs. Rodriguez called him about an opportunity. "There's a nonprofit organization called Second Chances that helps formerly incarcerated people find employment. They work with employers willing to hire people with records. Would you be interested?" "Yes," Marcus said immediately, grasping at hope. At Second Chances, he met with a counselor named James, who himself had been incarcerated years earlier. "I know what you're going through," James said. "The system doesn't make re-entry easy, but I'm proof it's possible. I got out, found work, went back to school, and now I help others do the same." James helped Marcus refine his resume, practice interviewing, and identify his skills. "You're not just an ex-con," James emphasized. "You learned skills in prison. You completed vocational training, right?" Marcus nodded. He had earned certifications in welding and HVAC repair while incarcerated. "Those are valuable skills," James continued. "We need to focus on what you can offer employers, not just your past mistakes." Through Second Chances, Marcus got an interview with a small construction company whose owner, Mr. Patterson, specifically hired people with criminal records. The interview was unlike any Marcus had experienced. Mr. Patterson asked about his conviction, but also about what he had learned, how he had changed, and what his goals were. "I'm not going to lie," Mr. Patterson said. "This isn't charity. I hire formerly incarcerated people because you often work harder than others. You appreciate the opportunity more. But I also have zero tolerance for problems. If you show up late, use substances, or get in trouble, you're done immediately. Can you handle that?" "Yes, sir," Marcus replied earnestly. "I just want a chance to prove myself." Marcus started as a general laborer, the lowest position. The work was physically demanding, long hours in all weather conditions, heavy lifting, exhausting days. But Marcus worked harder than anyone else on the crew. He arrived early, stayed late, and volunteered for the toughest assignments. Some coworkers were friendly, others were suspicious of his background. One worker, Danny, openly expressed hostility. "Great, they're hearing criminals now. I don't feel safe working with you." Marcus ignored the comments, focusing on his work, but the prejudice stung. He was trying so hard to change, yet some people would never see past his conviction. 3 months into the job, an incident tested Marcus. Danny deliberately knocked over Marcus's tools and blamed him for being careless. Marcus felt rage rising, the same anger that had gotten him in trouble years ago. He wanted to confront Danny, to make him apologize. Instead, Marcus took a deep breath and walked away. He found Mr. Patterson and calmly explained what happened. Mr. Patterson investigated, confirmed Danny's behavior, and reprimanded him. Later, Mr. Patterson pulled Marcus aside. That took real strength. The old Marcus probably would have reacted violently. "You've changed, and I see that." That validation meant everything to Marcus. Someone believed in his transformation. Over time, Marcus proved himself invaluable. His welding skills were exceptional, and Mr. Patterson promoted him to specialized projects. Marcus took additional classes at a community college, earning advanced certifications. His salary increased, allowing him to move out of his sister's basement into his own small apartment. However, challenges remained. Dating was complicated. Women were often uncomfortable when they learned about his past. He struggled with loneliness and the stigma of being formerly incarcerated. Some family members still treated him with suspicion, unable to forget who he had been. One day, Marcus was asked to speak at a Second Chances orientation for newly released individuals. He was nervous but agreed. Standing before a room of men and women just starting their re-entry journey, Marcus shared his story. "I won't sugarcoat it," Marcus told them. "Re-entry is hard. You'll face rejection, prejudice, and moments where giving up seems easier than persevering. People will judge you for your past, and some will never give you credit for changing. But here's what I learned. You can't control how others perceive you. You can only control your actions and choices." He paused, making eye contact with the audience. "Every day you'll face a choice. You can make decisions that move you forward or decisions that pull you back to old patterns. Nobody else can make those choices for you. The system is stacked against us, but it's not impossible. I'm standing here as proof." After his talk, several people approached Marcus. One young man, recently released after a drug conviction, said, "I needed to hear that. Everyone keeps telling me to stay positive, but nobody acknowledges how hard it actually is. You told the truth." Marcus realized he had found a new purpose. He started volunteering regularly at Second Chances, mentoring newly released individuals. He shared practical advice about handling rejection, managing anger, navigating parole requirements, and building new lives. 5 years after his release, Marcus had become a supervisor at the construction company. He owned his apartment, had rebuilt relationships with his family, and was in a stable relationship with a woman who accepted his past. Most significantly, he had helped dozens of formerly incarcerated people find employment and successfully reintegrate into society. One evening, Mrs. Rodriguez called. "Marcus, I wanted you to know your parole is officially complete. You're no longer under supervision. Congratulations." Marcus felt emotional. The weight of constant monitoring, the restrictions, the label of parolee, All of it was finally over. He was truly free. He called James to share the news. "You did it," James said proudly. "You beat the statistics. Most people with your background end up back in prison, but you chose differently." "I had help," Marcus replied. "People like you and Mr. Patterson gave me chances when others wouldn't. I want to do the same for others." "That's exactly what the world needs," James said. "People who have been through the struggle and come out the other side, willing to reach back and help others climb up." Marcus's story demonstrated that redemption was possible, even after serious mistakes. It required enormous effort, resilience in the face of constant rejection, and people willing to offer second chances. But most importantly, it required a daily commitment to making better choices, even when the easier path beckoned. Years later, when Marcus reflected on his journey, he would say, "Prison gave me time to think about who I wanted to be. But real change happened when I got out and had to prove it every single day." The second chance isn't just something others give you. It's something you give yourself by refusing to return to who you were.